Alright guys, let's take some real-time example. Let's start with an example. Let's try to calculate 47% of, let's say, a number 630. So I have to calculate 47% of 630. This is quickly coming in front of you. Let's see what we'll do. 47%, how can we handle 47%? There are many ways, of course. 40 plus 5 plus 2. But again, easiest way is to realize that this is very close to 50%. So I'll do it like this. 50% minus 3%. Now 50% is nothing but half of the number, which will be 315 over here. And 3% can also be very easily calculated as 1% is 6.3. If I triple it, 6 3s are 18, 0.3 3s are 18.9. So it will become 18.9. Now if I subtract 18.9 from 315, I'll get 47% of 630 very, very easily, isn't it? Now to subtract 18.9, subtract 19 and come forward 0.1. If I subtract 19, I have 296 and 0.1 will make it 296.1. So you see what I did was just to subtract 19, which is closest to 18.9, and then I move forward 0.1, which is lacking over here because I've subtracted 0.1 more. So I just moved 0.1 ahead. Anyways, so this is my answer, 47% of 630. Let's take another example. If I take an example of, let's say, 72% of 490, I have to calculate 72% of 490. Again, the breakup, let's write as minimum as possible now, right? So in my mind, it's going like 50 plus 20 plus 2, right? 50% will be 245. I'll just write it like this. Now 10% is 49, and double of which will be 98 as my 20%. And now I just have to calculate 2 more percent. Now if you remember the lecture of twin percentage properly, this is 20%, 1/10 of which is going to give me 2%. So this will be 9.8 more. So I have to just add 245 plus 98 plus 9.8, which will be equal to 245 plus 98 is very easy. Add 100, come back to, it will be 343. Adding a 9.8 will be 352.8 is my answer. Again, I explained, so I took more than around 15 seconds, but if you do it in your mind by yourself, I don't think you'll take more than 5 to 10 seconds to do this particular calculation, isn't it? So let's take another final example. Let's try to take another final example and see what best we can do in this one. Let's say I come across 78% of 560. Now 78% of 560 can be calculated in two ways. First is you calculate 50 plus 20 plus 8%. That is one way. There's another way present which you can do it like this. 78% can be taken as, if I take away 22% from 100%, I'll get 78%. So now my job is to actually calculate this 22% of 560 subtracted from the 100%, that is 560. So let's see what will be 22%. Now 10% is 56, double of which will be 112 as 20%. 2% will be nothing but 1/10 of 112, because this is a case of twin percentage. 22% will be 11.2. Adding them up, I'll get 123.2. Now this has to be subtracted from 560. So I subtract 100, I'll land upon 460. I'll subtract 20, I'll land upon 440. I subtract 3, 437. Another 0.2 will give me the answer as 436.8, isn't it? So it's very simple. If you just see the shortcut, if you just believe that there is a shortcut, you'll see the shortcut. Now let's take another method. For the same case, 78% of 560. Now 78% of 560 can also be calculated like this. See, one very interesting method is coming into my mind, because 78% can be split into 75% and 3%. Now by the time we should have got into a notice that 75% is nothing but 3 into 25%, isn't it? Which is basically 3/4, because 25% is 1/4. So if I calculate 3/4 of this number, add another 3% to it, I'll get 78%, isn't it? Now, 1/4 of this number is, if I'm not wrong, 4 times 1 will be equal to 140. So 75% will be 3 into 140, isn't it? If I add another 3%, which is 5.6, triple of 5.6, it'll be nothing but 15 plus 1.8, that is 16.8. Now 140 into 3 will be 420. 16.8 has to be added to it, and I'll get my answer very easily as 436.8, the answer which I got in the last method, of course. So see, again, this thing will go into your mind. In fact, this breakup, this split will also go into your mind. What you need to do is straight away should be able to write 420 and 16.8 and then add it up. This is the result of practice. This will be result of the practice that you will be doing. Fine. So this is the end of this lecture, guys. This is what I wanted to discuss in this particular lecture. In fact, in this entire section, this is the end of this section as well. Let's move on to the next slide, in which we'll see what we are going to discuss in the next section. Thanks a lot.